Good morning. Before we get started, remove the sign from the seat. The gray shirt, sign's in front of you. I'll make the officer come and get it if you don't take it off the seat. Thank you, officer. Remove the sign. That's what I mean. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Chief McDonald, Executive Director, Mr. Sibley, Madam Secretary, Acting Inspector General Florence Yu, Mr. City Attorney Carlos De La Guerra, and members of the public. Today is Tuesday, December 17, 2024. It is 9:30 a.m. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect Commissioners Suthers, Shields, and Garcia are present, and we have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. We welcome everyone attending this morning. The Police Commission is committed to ensuring equal access to its meetings. It is requested that individuals who require the services of a translator contact the board secretary no later than the day preceding the meeting. Whenever possible, a translator will be provided. Sign language interpreters, assistive listening devices, or other auxiliary aids and/or services may be provided upon request. To ensure availability, you are advised to make your request at least 72 hours prior to the meeting you wish to attend. All public comment will be heard during item number 2 on the agenda. We will dedicate a total of 45 minutes to public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. The order of the speakers will be: a speaker in this room will go first, then we will take a speaker watching today's meeting on Zoom. We will alternate between speakers in the room and Zoom for a total of 45 minutes. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board, so you're free to express your opinion on matters before the board and to generally express when you disagree with other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinions shall be deemed off-topic, and your public comment period will be concluded. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in the public comment portion of the agenda, you can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined on the agenda. Message for those attending the meeting in person. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there's a need for the board to carry out the public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only 1 warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. At this time, we will move to item number 1, the report of the Chief of Police, Chief McDonald.
Good morning, President Suthers, Vice President Shields, Commissioners, Acting Inspector General Yu, City Attorney De La Guerra, and Mr. Sibley. Today I'll be discussing significant incidents from the previous week, providing a crime update, and discussing our personnel strength. We had no officer-involved shootings or categorical uses of force during the previous week. Year to date, we've had 26 officer-involved shootings in comparison to 34 this time last year, for a decrease of 23.5%. On December 10th, approximately noon, a training accident occurred involving Air Support Division during routine emergency operations training. The training was conducted at the Los Alamitos Army Airfield in the city of Los Alamitos. The aircraft involved was staffed by 1 instructor pilot and 1 student pilot. Despite the crash, both pilots were able to walk away from the incident. They were transported to a local hospital, treated for minor injuries, and released shortly afterward. Both are expected to make a full recovery. The department ensured that all mandatory notifications were made to the National Transportation Safety Board and the Federal Aviation Administration. These agencies will conduct independent investigations into the incident in addition to the department's internal review. On December 11th, a series of armed robberies at multiple T-Mobile stores in the Van Nuys, Mission, and West Valley areas culminated in the arrest of a suspect who had been terrorizing local businesses throughout the day. At approximately 12:30 p.m., the suspect entered a T-Mobile store at 9059 Woodman Ave. He pulled out a firearm from his waistband and demanded money and phones from the employee. When the employee explained that she did not have access to the safe, the suspect chambered around and repeated his demands. The employee, in fear for his safety, complied with the situation, and the suspect fled on foot with the property. A few hours later, at about 3:30 p.m., the suspect targeted another T-Mobile store at 8246 DeSoto Ave. After asking to see several phones, he pulled out a handgun and demanded money. When the employee responded that she did not have any money, the suspect fled the scene. Later that evening, about 5:30 p.m., the suspect entered yet another T-Mobile store, this time located at 6742 Sepulveda Boulevard. He asked to see merchandise, and when the employee showed him a cell phone, he lifted his shirt to expose the firearm, saying, "I got this." The victim, in fear for her life, immediately contacted law enforcement. A radio call was generated, and Van Nuys patrol officers immediately responded to the scene and took the suspect into custody without incident. A loaded 9mm handgun was recovered from the suspect's waistband, which contained 7 live rounds and was registered to the suspect. Suspect was booked for robbery, and a big thank you to our officers in Van Nuys Division for their quick response in taking a dangerous suspect off the street before he had a chance to hurt someone. On November 16th, at about 7:30 in the morning, an attempted murder shooting occurred at 1601 North Vermont Ave in Northeast Division. The suspect, identified as the victim's ex-boyfriend, approached the victim, an MTA bus driver, while she was on her break and shot her in the face. The incident garnered significant media attention. Following the attack, detectives identified the suspect and employed investigative techniques to track his location. On December 12th, the investigating officer received information on the suspect's whereabouts and immediately coordinated with the U.S. Marshal Service and the LAPD Gang and Narcotics Division to locate and apprehend him. At approximately 1600 hours the same day, the U.S. Marshal's apprehension team located the suspect near a train station in the San Diego area. Suspect was taken into custody without incident, transported back to Los Angeles, where he was booked on his felony attempt murder warrant. In April 2024, a homicide occurred at 2868 West 11th Street within the Olympic Division. Our investigators from West Bureau Homicide responded to the scene to conduct the investigation. Through the collection of evidence, interviews, and investigative techniques, they were able to identify a suspect. A Ramey warrant for murder was issued for the suspect, who was known to frequent the MTA system. While working a surge overtime detail, an Operation South Bureau homicide detective provided the suspect's photograph and physical descriptors to the Transit Services Division watch commander. Watch commander ensured this information was disseminated to patrol personnel during roll calls. On December 15th, at about 6:30 in the morning, the suspect was spotted on the platform at MacArthur Park Westlake Metro Station. Officers assigned to the Footbeat unit in the area quickly recognized the suspect based on the provided descriptors and detained him. The suspect's identity was confirmed during the using department resources, and the assigned investigating officer was immediately notified. The suspect was booked on this warrant. I want to thank the officers for their keen observation skills and for leveraging the information shared during roll call to successfully apprehend a dangerous murder suspect. I also extend my gratitude to our homicide investigators for their relentless efforts in quickly identifying the suspect and effectively disseminating critical information that led to this arrest. As of December 14th, the overall crime trend for the year shows a notable decrease in both persons and property crimes compared to the same period last year. For the 4-week period from November 17th to December 14th, combined persons and property crimes are down 9%, with total reduction of 854 offenses. Specifically, persons crimes have decreased by 16.4%, or 343 incidents, and property crimes are down by 6.9%, a reduction of 511 incidents. This positive shift reflects our ongoing efforts to reduce crime and increase public safety across the city. Homicide rates have shown a downward trend throughout 2024. the city has experienced a 14.8% decrease in homicides compared to 2023, translating to 47 fewer lives lost. When comparing to 2022, the reduction is even more significant at 28.5%, or 108 fewer homicides. Notably, gang-related homicides have also dropped significantly. There's been a 34% decrease in gang-related homicides year-to-date compared to last year, and a remarkable 51.9% decrease compared to 2022. Victims shot has also decreased by 18.9% this year, with 221 fewer incidents compared to 2023, and 26.2 decrease from 2022. During the past 4 weeks, there's been a significant drop, almost 32%, with 23 fewer victims shot compared to the prior 4-week period. Aggravated assaults have decreased by over 19%, or 258 cases in the last 4 weeks compared to the previous period. Robberies citywide have decreased by 10% in the last 4 weeks, and a closer look at data reveals that strong-arm robberies make up 40.8% of all robberies, while robberies involving firearms account for 21.3%. Burglary rates have shown a mixed trend. Residential burglaries have risen by 8.5% over the past 4 weeks, while commercial burglaries have decreased by 12.2%. This increase in residential burglaries is concerning, and we're focusing on strategies to address this spike in home burglaries. Motor vehicle thefts have decreased by 12.9%, or 232 vehicles in the last 4 weeks, reflecting positive momentum in this area. However, certain trends remain consistent. Kias and Hyundais continue to be among the most targeted vehicles, though we've seen notable decreases in thefts of specific models like the Hyundai Elantra, which is down by 35%. A closer examination of patterns show that the majority of stolen vehicles are being recovered, which strongly suggests that many of these thefts are linked to joyriding rather than organized criminal activity. Interestingly, a significant number of recoveries have been concentrated in Newton Division, particularly near freeways and homeless encampments. This recurring pattern has prompted further investigation as we work to identify suspects and prevent additional incident. On our personnel strength as of December 16th, number of sworn personnel is 8,784. That's our civilian personnel staffing is 2681, and our reserve officers are holding steady at 380. Mr. President, that concludes my report this morning.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for the update on the officers involved in the air support accident that happened last week. I'm glad that they're going to both be able to recover fully, and also like to commend the investigative work that was done on the MTA shooting and that arrest and the homicide arrest as well. So just some good work over the last week. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have no other comments or questions. Vice President Shields.
Thank you. Thank you for those updates. Very helpful. I had a question. It's not in the report, but given that it was really close to my house, I had a question about it. Yesterday there was I believe like a police pursuit and a standoff with the sheriff's department and it was in like the North Hollywood area. How does it work when we're all very close together in different jurisdictions? What happens when the sheriff's department does come into the city? Is there coordination with the LAPD?
There is. If they're primary on the pursuit and it ends and they are able to maintain a perimeter, they will do that. If they need assistance, if the suspect gets out and run, we'll assist with our air unit as well to be able to provide that perimeter for them, or any other unit that would come into the city. Otherwise, without a request for assistance, we monitor the situation and ensure that traffic flow is coordinated appropriately, and then any other potential fallout, crowds gathering, or other incidentals that may occur, we would deal with those as well.
Thank you. That's great to know that there is that type of coordination. And I have to, Chief, give you credit for being so out in the community. I know you've had a number of events with different community members, and I think it's so important. I don't know if you've had a day off since you've started, but I think that is very laudable, and I think that we need to just continue to increase that, especially in communities of color and others that don't have the strong relationship with the department. And I know we don't always have an opportunity to say correct the record. Not everything that you read in the paper is accurate. I did feel obligated, though. This is about the police commission's role in interviewing candidates, and we are very glad that you are sitting in that seat. But I had seen some kind of false reporting about the commission interviewing a candidate that is being potentially terminated from the department. And I just wanted to make it clear, especially because there are other members of the department that are impacted by this individual, that the police commission did not interview that person for your position. And it's always hard. I know we can't correct every misstatement that is in the public eye, but I did feel that it was important for us as the commissioners to at least put that on the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Chief. No questions.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 2, the public comment period. Madam Secretary, please identify the first speaker.
The first speaker is Mr. Herman.
That's okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm right here, Pop. I'll be safe, don't worry. I want my 3 minutes, please. You know, what's interesting about government is that we're trying to fight crime, and we're trying to prevent niggers from basically taking advantage of the population of minorities. But we're finding out that Judge Mark Sakarsi, the federal judge in the case of the pardon of nigger Hunter Biden, allowed this criminal to do the same shit we've been allowing criminals to do since the COVID time, which is get away with crime, doing their burnouts, snatch and grab. And where were you at? Where was SWAT? Exactly. You know what the fuck I'm talking about? I'm talking about crime, burglaries, homicides. But yet, a dumb nigger like me can only talk about what another dumb nigger did in La Loya and St. Francis. That's why, for the record, Watts versus U.S. 394 U.S. 705 of 1969, if I were that person, I too would protect myself with a rifle. But I can't, because I'm a fucking nigger too. But Judge allowed these young children from La Loya and St. Francis, these Catholic horny little fucking cunts and bitches, motherfuckers with dicks, to drink.
Sir, this is not a matter before the police
Sir,
commission. Get on topic. This is not a matter before the police commission. Stay
the
on
chief
topic.
of police gave me a sticker about drinking. The
public
chief
comment
of
period
Sir,
will be
I'm speaking. I
terminated.
got the floor. Do you mind?
Your public comment period will be terminated if you don't stay on topic.
Is this my first warning or what is it?
Get on topic.
I am on topic. I'm talking about crime
Continue.
statistics.
The clock is running.
I understand that. That's why, on the record, Snyder versus Phelps, 394 U.S. 705, 1969. Simplify, right? Simplify. Look at here. Agreement between the city of Los Angeles niggers, E. Roy, and look at here, a First Amendment agreement between the city of Los Angeles again. E. Roy, am I on fucking topic? I'm reading it right off here. That's item C and D for dick, you dickhead. Then I go to item F, department report relative to Project Safe Neighborhoods, dumb nigger. Am I not talking about the safety of our neighborhood? Snatch and grabs, All these fucking cars running all over the street, and your dumb fucking ass is telling me I'm off fucking topic. As far as I'm concerned, that fucking judge that pardoned Hunter is a motherfucker and should go to hell.
Thank you.
And for those listening, I apologize for that profanity and the racist comments coming out of this person's mouth.
Our next speaker is Mona on Zoom. Mona? What items would you like to speak on? I'm sorry. Okay, Mona, you need to mute yourself. There you go. Which items would you like to speak on? It's not working. Okay, we're going to move on to the next speaker, Amy. Okay, I'm having issues with the Zoom. Amy, are you there? Okay. We'll move on to the next in-person, Goat Puppet. We're working on it. We're working.
Yes. Correct, yes. But Mr. Suthers mutes everybody. He hates everybody. Now we get to only see here. Yes, the illustrious Chief of Police report. The overpaid octogenarian sheriff, chief, whatever he is these days, talks about a reduction in fucking crime. No, there's not a reduction in crime. It's an increase in fucking crime all over the city. I just went today at Van Nuys, over in the fucking area where the buses go through in the metro. The Orange Line, homeless criminals everywhere. Graffiti, dumping of raw sewage, and the occasional shit being taken outside on the street illegally. Yes, you're wrong, Sheriff Chief Boy. It is going up like the asshole on this crime. Then we have the consent agreements. Let's see here. The city and OD Seuss Incorporated. Fuck the agreement. I don't want this agreement. Then we get the commercial programming system. Fuck that contract too. This is just the fucking sick mind of Russia and that little FBI washout SWAT member president. Yes. The worst part is Fabian. You're the worst one of all of them because you could vote no on this shit with only a quorum of 3 and stop all of it. You could stop the stealing, but you don't do it. All of this theft and all of this corruption, all of this, look at this list. Look at this. What would your mother and father say, your immigrant parents say? Look at all this stealing. You don't need any of this shit. The goddamn department is down 1,329 officers and counting under the 10,000 level set by the great late Antonio Villar, doing business as Antonio Villaraigosa. Yes, he's going to run for governor to fuck everything up in Sacramento. And that's why I'm going to vote for him, by the way, because it's a shithole. So remember, you, Fabian, are the problem. Russia was lost a long time ago in her mental mind. And a long time ago, Suthers, known as Stephen from Django Unchained, is here to be a slaver, as these people yawn. I know they're bored. They're bored of your bald head. So finally remember, get some hair plugs like Joe Biden.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll try again with Mona.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, what items would you like to speak on?
Woohoo, all items, please.
You have 3 minutes, go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioners, Chief, Florence Yu, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Today, I want to tell you about 2 crime victims, a young lady that was molested, raped, abused for years by her father. Scientology moved him out of state and country to get him away from being prosecuted. She was also part of the child labor factory and suffers tremendous emotional distress from the years of abuse. Her case is in your system already. Number 2, a child was playing with fireworks on L. Ron Hubbard Way. It blew off both of his hands and an eye. The parents were told to disconnect from him since he was no longer an able-bodied person and no longer useful to their labor pool. Scientology ordered, coerced, and threatened the parents, especially the mother, to never see him again. He became the no hands man on Hollywood Boulevard. The crimes committed by the parents and the Scientology, child abuse, neglect, infliction of mental distress, abandonment, the entire Scientology community knew of the horrors and were not allowed to do anything. The crimes of child abuse, sexual abuse, and human trafficking are still happening today behind the blue walls. Those exposing the crimes are having cases brought, some frivolous, by a cult that has billions of tax-exempt dollars at their disposal to throw at the protesters, manufacturing evidence as no problem for such a cash-rich cult. 3 minutes just isn't enough time. I would like to see 3 things come of these comments. Chief, you have the authority to do these 3 things. 1, Janet Whelan or any Scientology representative be removed from the CPAB or an advisory position until an investigation is complete. 2, all investigations against protesters relating to Scientology be paused due to conflict of interest. One such is Scott Hochstetter. Do you really think that he's swatting himself and putting those guns against himself? And through the CPR, we found out that Scientology offered in an email for LAPD to pay his extradition to West Virginia for a misdemeanor crime. And 3, I would request a meeting with you, Mr. Chief. But if you're too busy, please appoint an investigator that we can have as a point of contact to bring this evidence together for you for an investigative claim. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
The next speaker is Jason Sheedy.
Good morning. I would like to talk about the due process and the investigation in the LAPD. Number one, recently I heard about a case about Mr. Herman. Because some people are literally the court, some sort of made a determination that he sent certain profanity emails to the board of supervisor, and therefore he is not allowed to participate in the meeting anymore. This one, it really confuses me because I want to inform the LAPD chief and the commissioner. Based on you, everybody knows Mr. Herman. If he wants to say something, he say that in front of you. He say that directly to your face. There's no reason to send you an email and say whatever he has to say because he never has to hide. And second of all is that based on what I know about Mr. Herman, he is not even have a computer. He does not even have an email address. He has a personal technology difficulty. And then somehow without a comprehensive investigation, somehow the court just determined that, yes, he did it. Therefore, he's banned. So I feel our chief, our LAPD, it's not hard to locate the what's that called, IP address. It's not hard to locate from which devices, what time, which area. It's not so difficult to prove someone is innocent or someone is guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying that we do not have any evidence that the email address belongs to him. Otherwise, I can just create an email email with Jim McDonald's name, and then I can just insult everybody, and then therefore nobody give me an investigation. Therefore, Jim McDonald did it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Number two is I want to talk about the lady Harriet Elliott. I want to ask for the Inspector General to support her, because she is still confused with a lot of cases, especially about her son. So, I want to make sure that she is provided with correct information, because number one is her son. Number two is, long time ago. She another day asked me to go to University of CSUN, asking to verify if some person is still alive or dead already. And then I have to tell her that, well, that's confidential personnel information. You and me, we are not allowed to know. So I wish our Inspector General can reach out to this lady and to answer some of her questions and her concerns about her son, about any her concerned family member, because at her age she is not clear about everything. So it's no harm. Let's give her an hour. Let's find a representative from the LAPD Inspector General. Let's talk to her. There's no harm to answer some questions.
Okay. The next speaker is Amy.
Do you hear me this time?
Yes. Which item would you like
Okay.
to speak on?
The 3 minutes, like everybody else has been doing. I just want to say I'm very disgusted with what I saw on Saturday night at the Shrine Auditorium. It looks like your department is still culting around with the criminal predatory child trafficking cult. They are what I've been calling them, because they have an OSA, Office of Special Affairs. They're with the acronym OSA. You're dealing with La Osa Nostra, because you're sitting there taking orders from a cult and not even verifying the permits and you allowed kids in this university to be run around by the cult, and they couldn't even go get their cars at USC if they even wanted to access their dorms. It was so outrageous what I saw, and as a mother who's considering looking around in the area to sending her daughter to a school, I would highly not recommend that. From what I saw that you're not really protecting the students from this cult. I wouldn't want my kids near that, my daughter. How can you do that? And then the other thing with the Winter Wonderland, Mr. Daniel Villeda Gonzalez, he was attacked. And where's the justice for that security guard that went and was shining blinding lights in his eyes that would have caused severe retinal damage? And he had a terrible concussion that was done by this security guard that had no ID. You don't even know who he is, no name tag. Where are you guys? Aren't you going to really monitor what they're doing? And because they're criminals. All of this stuff is on the interwebs. Your kids would tell you Scientology is a cult. They're laughing at you because you're taking money from them. Isn't there a separation of church and state? You got to get Janet Whelan off your CPAPs. You have to separate yourself and unentangle yourself from a terrible predatory child trafficking cult. And it looks terrible for children to go to a school and have that near them. They don't like it. The students were not happy on Saturday night at the Shrine. It's got to end. Cut the ties and detach yourself from this horrible child trafficking cult. It's the mafia on steroids, and you guys have got to stop getting involved with it. It doesn't look good, because when this stuff comes out, you're going to be all entangled in it, and it doesn't look good for you guys at all. And it's just terrible. Bye.
Thank you. The next speaker is Audit LA.
I'd like all 3 minutes, please. Do I need to bring this
Okay.
down? Good morning, Chief, Commission, and Ms. Yu. I'm here to follow up. I really want to tag on to what Mona said. Mona and I and two others, we met with Ms. Yu to try to, to let her know what's going on. But so much has happened since then, Chief. And I am requesting also if we could just meet, just to catch you up. I know you're very busy, whenever the time is, but there's so much going on. like one thing what they were talking about Saturday, okay, like what they do, what Scientology does is like because LAPD officers, they went to do like overtime policing for the Shrine, their big event. And they only show the LAPD, the officer, like their application and, and so they say, well, they're applying for a sidewalk shutdown. But see, what they don't show them is the entire permit, which is that it does not prevent pedestrians, only vehicles. And believe me, I have all the evidence. Scientology tried to get the city attorney to sign off on, to take that out and let it be shut down to pedestrians as well. And they stood fast and said no. But your officers, they're looking bad and they're actually leaving the city open to lawsuits because they're believing what Scientology security is telling them. No, it's a closed, sidewalk. And so they prevented students from getting to their dorms. They prevented people from going to the store who had the absolute first, the right to go. And so your officers are they're not educated on it, what's really going on and all the lies and the nonsense. They are with the Blue Building more because it's, those divisions are, even though they're very connected in different levels, they are backing down. But here, this was a new arena and these officers, and I felt kind of bad because it's like, and we can't, like, they closed off the portal, the city closed off the portal, so no one can even show them, here, this is the full permit, so you can see the second page. And that permit is for any event in the city of LA. The pedestrians have a right to go through. They don't have the right to camp out or stand there, but they have the right to go through. And so I want to bring that to your attention. I also want to say that Hollywood Division, I've said before, they have a very close connection to Scientology. And they're like, there's a conflict of interest because they're under protest. There's so much going on right now. They still went to their, free tickets to their Christmas event. And it's like, it's showing partiality. It's showing favoritism to Scientology and the protesters who, we're the bad guys because Scientology has your ears because they're on your CPAPs. And every time I bring up Janet Whalen, saying because she's like she's like the vice president of the Scientology. She has her minion, I believe, allegedly. He comes, all of a sudden, he starts attacking me and like on YouTube, whatever, and instigating violence. He doesn't threaten me himself, but he instigates people to kill me, to hurt me, to all this stuff. And so I'm coming here under not knowing, like I leave here, I have my head on a swivel because I don't know what's going to happen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Serious, and that's why I keep coming, sir.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Betty Lay.
Hello,
Hello. Which items would you like to speak on?
Chief's report, agenda items, public comment, please.
3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Well, first off, Jim, I truly appreciate your report. You're doing a fantastic job. I'm so happy you've been selected. On the agenda items, I support all the donations that are coming in. And for public comment, I want everyone to be safe, healthy, enjoy a wonderful holiday season, Christmas and Hanukkah. And with that, I'm going to yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Streets LA.
Good morning. I'd like to speak on all items. So you just gave a report about how crime is down. And I've been hearing that for the last 3 years now, actually 4 years. Crime's down, crime's down, crime's down. At the same time, you've lost the number of cops. So crime is down, the number of cops are fewer, and yet you're asking for a large increase in your budget. Last year you asked for $100 million. You got almost all of it. And in the process, we've defunded our city. We've cut aging funding by $5.1 million to give you guys more money. We've cut street services by $15 million. We've cut public works. We've cut the fire department. We've cut animal services. We're defunding our city as we give you guys more money and more money. But you're telling us that crime is down. Now, you, Chief, you said the other day that you don't actually believe crime is down. You think people are not reporting crime. I want to know, is there an excess of bodies laying around out there in the street, of murders that are not being reported? Do you really believe that? Because that was specifically what it was what you were commenting about. Somebody brought up murders, and you said, well, people aren't reporting these crimes. So there are bodies laying in the street that nobody knows about, that are not being reported, according to you. That's nonsense, okay? That's nonsense. But this year, now you guys are asking for $250 million more. You guys are defunding our city at the same time. The homelessness problem, Karen Bass can say what she wants. It's getting worse, all right? People are struggling out there. The streets are falling apart. The streets are filthy because we're defunding the city, and at the same time, we're giving the cops more money. The average LAPD officer makes $132,000 a year. How much are you guys making? And where do they live? 84% of these officers live outside of the city of LA. So we are taking that money, sending it to San Bernardino, sending it to Orange County, sending it to Ventura, sending it to Texas. We have officers that live in Tennessee and Florida. That money is going elsewhere. We're subsidizing them with our hard-earned money. And it's not right. Now, I look at the makeup of this commission, this Civilian Oversight Commission right here. You would like to see this commission represent the people of the community. I don't see that. I see an ex-police chief right here. I see an ex-prosecutor. Where are the bakers? Where are the school teachers? Where are the store owners? And then we have Florence Yu. I don't even want to get into you because all you do is consistently cover up for the LAPD. I dealt with you not so long ago where a cop stepped on a man's head. It's all on video for everyone to see. And you guys came back and said it did not happen. And you said the guy did not even complain about having his head stepped on. And you can clearly hear it on video of him complaining about having his head stepped on. Shame on all of you.
The next speaker is Philip Tabby. Philip Tabby.
Good morning. All items, please.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'll quote President John F. Kennedy. Let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. Let us accept our own responsibility for the future. I think this quote sits perfectly with LAPD. Politics should never dictate public safety, yet here we are today with the police departments nationwide being politicized for some sort of political gain or power. Our city council, with zero input from Angelenos, decided to make our city a sanctuary city. This is a major blow to public safety, all for political purposes. Chief McDonald, you have handled yourself professionally, given the cards you've been dealt. The corrupt fake news, Mockingbird media, enemy of the people, twisting and turning your words is leading the public to believe a false narrative. An example is from a story published by KTLA. New LAPD chief says he will work to protect immigrants ahead of Trump's plan for mass deportations. After reading the story, it explains you're working to educate the communities about Special Order 40, put in place 45 years ago. That's the right thing to do. There are many here in the United States who have been here many years, illegally, but have been law-abiding and have given to society. If our corrupt city council would just educate themselves, they would understand that there's a big criminal element that has come across our southern border that needs to go. Holman said that cities and counties need to let ICE into the jails so that they do not have to go into the communities. Review Title 8, United States Code, Section 1324. It is a felony to harbor illegal aliens. Again, I do not think they're going to go target your grandmother or your aunt or my uncle, who's a dreamer, who has been here a long time, not committing crimes. Rather, they have a huge job to eliminate the criminals who have committed egregious crimes. So, Chief McDonald, keep up the great work. Since your concern is to keep everyone in Los Angeles safe, LAPD needs to input from all community members to solve crime. Trust is very important. I'm a Trump supporter living in Los Angeles, and I completely understand what's going on. Now, the city council researched Marbury versus Madison, 1803, major ruling. Any statute that bears the appearance of a law that does not support the Constitution is null and void. Bring back the Blue Line flag, fire Liz Rhodes, move Captain Loose Hands Lozano as a Christmas present to my community here at Foothill. And God bless the LAPD. Yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Harriet Elliott.
Hello, my son was killed 32 years ago. The report says that Rome or Romero took credit for it. I only got that after a Public Records Act request, 5 years. I was waiting for that. First of all, I don't believe it because Detective Tinker in the autopsy on page 13 says your son, defendant's son, Elliot's son, was asked to follow another kid out in the front of the party at 27th and Arlington, and at which time he shot him. So they have conflicting reports in the autopsy. Okay, I'm 20 people have been killed or that are my friends. These are prospective jurors. Yeah, anyone would believe any of this happens. Why? Because I'm a victim of very high technology. This thing right here says directed energy is makes smart bombs look like child's play. You know what a smart bomb is? When they're in Vietnam or Iraq, they'd sit on their top of the roof and they'd see the smart bomb go to the dissonance house. That's how advanced military technology is. By the way, directed energy now will run all wars. Okay? That shrimp that said that he wants help from you, I appreciate that, and he was going to go with me to the genealogist, and this is a page from the genealogist, 4th level down at Central Library. We found out this woman right here, I am investigating how long an instructor lived after doing a favor for me. My political science 155 instructor wrote a letter of recommendation for me to enter the international program in 1992. The folks at CSUN seem to be preventing me from getting just this one piece of information. I found out when we did it together with that genealogist that this lady, her name's Faith Windsor, is still alive. Yeah. I cannot believe that no one called her all this time. This is who I'm talking about. I don't believe it, okay? This woman right here, Renee Pidman, said she was masturbated until orgasm at the age of 3 and 4. This is real pedophilia. This is the CIA. She blames the CIA, and yet she doesn't put the blame on remote viewing, which is the CIA front, which is psychic. They think psychic. You can't get into college if you believe in anything psychic. You can never say anything. Why? Because it's a sham. Yeah. Don't believe in anything psychic. And the whole this woman is my soul sister, a black lady, but she should have said no psychic. No.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker, Steve Riley. Steve Riley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak on?
All items, please.
Okay, thank you. 3 minutes.
First, I'd like to say great report by Chief McDonald. Good information. And thank God that those 2 officers involved in the air support helicopter accident are going to fully recover. And I'd like to remind people in the past, I have suggested that you review Special Order 40, also the California Values Act, known as the Sanctuary Cities Law, and Marbury versus Madison, which was mentioned by Phil Tabby. By the way, I second his remarks. He's right on target on the issues. And so we need to review those things and then act according to the law. That is fundamental. And of course, you want to make LA City safe for everyone, and that includes immigrants, legal and illegal. However, when someone is arrested and their immigration status is determined to be illegal, there is Special Order 40 that comes into play. It doesn't make our community safer by returning illegal immigrants back into the population when they've committed crimes. So that is a deterrent for anyone who may be illegal not to commit a crime, because our local city attorney, district attorneys, they are, and many times, failing to keep the public safe. But let's use all resources to do what we can do, city, and federal to keep all our people safe. Now, just for clarification, LAPD never does ask a victim or witness what their immigration status is. So let's stop with the fear mongering in the media if that is occurring. Okay, they know they can come forward as witnesses and victims and report a crime without being in fear of deportation. A person who is arrested should have that fear in the back of their mind that they could be deported. Last week, I put up my hand at the beginning of the meeting. I was not called upon, yet the secretary at the end said no further speakers. That is just not accurate or true. I'm not sure what the issues are with your technology there, but I can see that recently there have been some issues. I really should get an additional 3 minutes as a reparation for the time I was denied last week. And I know that's happened to other callers also. So please, let's get our act together when it comes to how these meetings are conducted with the technology available. Also, this is the Christmas season. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I celebrate Christmas. I see the Happy Holiday thing, and Chief does a great December message. Everybody should listen to that. And everybody should read the comments in the comment section for the lapdonline.org website. So I wish everyone a safe holiday and a Merry Christmas. God bless the LAPD.
Thank you. The next speaker is Lorenzo Soto.
The paper. Hello, Chief. How can I say, commissioners? You see that I'm disabled, and it was caused up because of the LAPD. So I don't understand how you guys talk about protect the community when you guys damage the community. As somebody did a false report, and you guys come and did a misconduct at my apartment, coming in pointing guns at me, no search warrant. There you guys have helicopters, patrol cars to bring me out of the apartment. So everything God has done to, damage my life. Now I have seizures. One of those seizures will come back and I'm not gonna be alive no more. And one of the things I did, it was file an investigation with the wheelchair division. And it was very poor, this investigation, because they're only investigating point 1, point 2, when there's 5 points that need to be investigated here. So when they saw the investigation, I'm the victim there, they're staying away from it. And I don't know how it happened. They already closed the investigation. And the investigation is very poor for me, that they're not taking serious my case. So I would like to schedule an appointment with you, Chief. I know you're new to us and welcome. But this needs to be a stronger investigation in regards to my case. I brought it up to Karen Bass, and she's taking, like I could say, I'm offended that you got 2 secretaries in the office asking a blind person to do something online when I'm telling her very specific, I'm blind. And I told Karen Bass too, and their secretaries too, they're doing the same thing to me. If they want me to write something, I'm gonna write it in Braille, and I want them to read it. Let's see, if they wanna be smart mouth, let me prove it to them. Okay, that's not right what they're doing to a disabled person. If you're protecting the community, how about these LAPD officers do the right job and get trained good? Because now I wanna schedule something because I'm not gonna give up. It happened years, but I'm fighting for my life, and my life is in a risk. If you don't take serious this, what I'm saying right now, I'm escalate to the FBI because one of the questions they ask, if your life is in risk, yes, it's in a risk. Why? Because one of the seizures, I'm not gonna come back. And what it says right here, I have the evidence, and I have more evidence than this. When you're gonna go arrest somebody, make sure you have the right evidence. Thank you, Chief and Commissioners.
And thank you. May I ask the Inspector General's office to
Sir,
oversee this?
if you head back towards the room, we have a special investigator who will help you.
The next speaker, please, Mirjam. Mirjam, please unmute. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Which items would you like to speak
Okay.
on?
All of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Firstly, I want to give my warmest congratulations for the over 30 years of collaboration with the Cult of Scientology. Recently, they publicly reported that they have donated over $500,000 to you over the years. I did some quick girl math, and it's actually only $17,000 per year. This is, of course, excluding all the extracurricular services you provide to the code where naturally additional compensation is being paid. Therefore, I would like to make you a counterproposal. For the price of redeeming your dignity and trustworthiness, you could start protecting the peaceful anti-Scientology protesters from the violent attacks by Scientology-hired armed security. Begin to actually investigate the swatting incidents towards the protesters earlier this year and stop prohibiting legal First Amendment protesting in public sidewalks of LA. And the best part is, no LAPD officers need to attend any fundraisers to do musical performances. To be honest, officers Brian White and Tim Tallman lack nearly as much musical talent as they do professionalism in their policing. Therefore, I am willing to pay out of pocket to send officers White and Tallman to a band camp to Utah for the entire next year. And heck, if there's not enough improvement, we can even negotiate on an extension period. What do you think? Give me a call. Thanks.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jonathan Foster.
Hello, Jonathan Foster. Chief, the 89 Graham versus O'Connor decision with the Supreme Court rests on a reasonable officer. Can you define a reasonable officer for me? Because the Supreme Court hasn't. And they're murdering people. They calling it reasonable. This is a lie. What do you people get to stand on? In the front lobby, the barrier is not bulletproof. See, I'm the chief of police. You listen to me. You work for me. The lobby, the barrier is not bulletproof. And I asked, where is the shield? He says, oh, it's way back there. It's still in its case. We'd have to get it out. So they're not protected. They're not even in a position to start to protect themselves. So I talked about David March and Jerry Ortiz, and on Jerry Ortiz, I can't find that Sepe is an illegal alien, though some websites say he was, but the guy that shot David March is an illegal alien. And all these people are foreign militias, and they can be shot dead at any time. Any foreign militia can be shot on sight. And the federal government is no help. I also saw the debate with you in Villanueva. You said there was somewhere around 6,300 LAPD officers when you served. Oh yeah, USA, Jewish Bankers Paradise, right? So there were 2 police officers, they were shot, and they didn't need to be shot because this thing doesn't act properly. It doesn't protect the police officers, and you already have head-to-toe body armor, not a one of them wear it. So am I supposed to cry when the next one gets shot and dead? I'm not. If they don't have head-to-toe body armor on. Oh yeah, hold on. Gotta talk about Russia. Those boxes, you know, that you check the boxes and all that stuff. You're like one of the most racist people here from what I've seen. So something that's not exactly here, but it is tied to Takar Smith. And the Sonia Massey girl was shot right in the head. And what she was doing was holding something over her head. And Takar Smith was doing the same thing. He held something over his head, but they did nothing to the police department. And they shot Sonia Massey. They've also shot Terrell Miller, a 4-year-old relative of Sonia Massey. And this was very much like what happened in the Valley. There was a lady being held hostage with a guy with a knife. And when they shot, actually shot the girl. It's the same thing with the 4-year-old. And one of the things that prevents this is head-to-toe body armor, which is why I keep calling myself the chief of police. Because I'm the only one that would have protected the citizen from getting shot by a police officer who's scared to get shot, has to shoot first. This is what changes policing.
Thank you.
The next speaker will be the last speaker. William Good. We already spoke. Hassan Tran. Hassan Tran. Mr. Hassan Tran, you're up.
#17, 2024. Very important, but thank you, everybody. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take more speakers. Raul Macias.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Good morning. I'd like to direct these comments to Florence Yu. I understand your office is investigating the investigation by Detective Estrada over at Northeast Division. He's been working on my case for like 2 months now, and he never calls me back. And he's very rude on the phone. And then you have an enforcer I've been trying to identify through President Suthers, a woman who threw me in a psych ward for 6 days and accused me of threatening Sean Evan Buer. She called him Bauer. She said I was going to cut him up and that I was going to kill the officers at the Northeast Division and that I was going to kill myself. And she used that as a pretext to throw me in a psych ward. Now, I've been trying to get some justice for my landlady, Young Sah Chai, who is a Korean lady who rents rooms to boarders. And you have Sean Evan Buer has been abusing her for months now. And I believe he's in exile. He might be dead. I don't know. He's in exile in El Segundo. But who you have in there right now is Kellen Fioli, who's a 6 foot. This guy's scary looking. I mean, he's 22 years old, and I believe he's doing crystal. He threatened my life on October 5th. He went and got a knife out of the kitchen. When Yongsa was laying right there, she doesn't have a door. As this woman is crazy to sleep like that. She just has an anteroom from the kitchen into one of the bedrooms, and he says, if you open that door, I'm going to fuck you, I'm going to kill you all. She listened to that, and she saw the blade, okay? Now, the reason he did that, I believe he's terrorizing her. Now, the police refused to arrest Kellen Fioli that night. And what he's doing, he didn't have a job at the time, and I am certain, Chief McDonald, that he is threatening her, he is abusing her. On Friday the 13th, that was at 7 p.m., it was dusk, I arrived at home and Yongsa was in a catatonic state. She had been drugged in some kind of manner. And I demonstrated this in front of Assistant Chief Chow, and he was appalled. He wanted this turned over to Mac, and it wasn't turned over. It seemed that she was raped. They did something to her, and I think it was Callan, because he's a Satanist. This guy's scary, okay? And nothing was done on that. It was turned over to Estrada. That's who I want. I want him. You're supposed to be investigating Ms. Yu, and I don't know what's going on. He never calls me. He's still on the case. He says, don't call me anymore, Raul, that kind of stuff. And then that enforcer lady, I was talking to her one day, she got the phone and she slammed it. She goes, well, I'm slamming this phone now, Raul, and she's just slammed it on me. I'd like to know when Estrada is going to talk to Kellen Fioli and ask him where the hell he was on Friday the 13th when Miss Chow seemed to be drugged and raped that day. She was walking with her pelvis sticking out. And like...
Thank you.
The next speaker, please, Megan.
At the top of your little speech that you do every week, Southers, you say that this board is committed to accessibility for the community, and yet here we are still having these meetings at 9:30 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday, and you guys couldn't even manage to have your stupid community meetings in the third or fourth quarter of this year. Get it together. So there have been several donations in the past few weeks for various youth programs, and like many of the other speakers today, it honestly can't be said often enough that LAPD has no business running youth mentoring programs. It's objectively a moral cesspit. It's corrupt from the top down. The elected head of your fucking rank and file runs a security company which hires cops fired from the LAPD, which is very fucking scary, very hard to get fired from the LAPD. Some of them fired for violent offenses, hires them to be security guards at Walgreens, and then scams them out of their wages. The head of this accountability body is on the payroll of a genocidal foreign army. He illegally used government databases to spy on his ex-wife. He started an organization which would employ a police officer who molested over 200 kids and never said anything about it, never distanced himself from it. And the stuff that I have heard in the last 2 years of attending these meetings is like, the fact that you think that you can run programs for kids is truly disgusting. And just off the top of my head, what I can remember, a new recruit arrested for child molestation, a supervisor fucking their subordinate on the job, and I think it was the wife of another officer, an officer who sexually abused a mentally ill woman and forced her to have sex with an animal. I mean, you blew up a truck full of fireworks and killed people and blew up their houses. You beat the shit out of protesters. You kill people in high-speed chases. You shoot them in the worst moments of their lives when they come to you for help. And you have the nerve to run fucking youth mentoring programs? It's literally mind-blowing. I want to talk with my time remaining about something that happened on Wednesday. There was a sweep at an encampment in CD11. There is a woman there that I'm friends with who lives in an RV. She obviously is coping with a lot, and she was talked into voluntarily giving up her car to be towed by an LAPD officer. She didn't understand what was happening to her, and she wasn't allowed to get any of her shit out of her car, so she had no clothes, she had no underwear, she had no food. And you know what the dumbest thing is? When I call that fucking tow company, they'll let us come down and get her shit out of the car. But that LAPD officer couldn't give her 5 minutes to get her stuff out of the car before they took it away. And also tricked her into signing something, into voluntarily giving up her vehicle, which she did not realize she was signing. Fuck all you guys.
Matios Cadane.
My name is Matias Kidana with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. So again, this whole notion of oversight, a sham, I want to remind folks that these meetings used to hold public comment after every agenda item. So we could actually hear what you police officers are saying, and then we could respond. So this is like, what are we discussing actually right now? It's just the agenda. One thing I want to bring up is the $202K dollar donation for license plate readers in the Cheviot Hills community. And again, as Will brought up earlier, crime is down. So this whole need for license plate readers and this need for more police is wholly manufactured through racist narratives. In this instance, we have LAPD's Captain Rich Gabaldon, who went to the Cheviot Hills Homeowners Association to discuss foreign thieves who are from South America as a need, as something that manufactures a need for ALPRs. And I have the exact quote from the minutes here for that meeting, where he discusses that there are two types of crews: South American crews, sophisticated, electronically savvy tools, and South End crews, gang members use stolen car plates and wear all black hoodies and masks. And, in the same kind of conversation, he says that the area where these ALPRs would be installed were low crime, but they encourage the addition of ALPRs and use this racialized language to kind of expand the LAPD's arsenal in this way. So just to talk about the technological capabilities that are being donated to the Cheviot Hills, they consider Flock Safety and Motorola, but chose Motorola cameras as they do real-time data processing. The LAPD also says that they'll begin implementation of the mobile companion for that Motorola Vigilant Mobile's application for smartphones, which includes face scans and facial recognition technology. Now, this department would have you believe that it doesn't use facial recognition technology, but here it is integrated into the technology. And just to say, there's clear data gathering, and that's a harm of these technologies, but they also catalyze, dangerous events for people when they falsely flag folks. So just a couple examples. In February 8, 2020, LAPD stopped Shabani Balsavar and Shailani Sen when their U-Haul truck they were driving was incorrectly flagged by LAPD system as being stolen. 11 LAPD officers surrounded them while a police helicopter hovered overhead. LAPD officers aimed their weapons at Miss Balsavar and Miss Sen and forced them to lie proned out. This is off a false ALPR hit. Second example, 2021, Ernest Simon Jr., who was driving a shuttle for the show Grey's Anatomy, was stopped because an ALPR scan supposedly had linked the plates to a vehicle that was stolen. Simon was ordered out of his vehicle and forced at gunpoint to lie on the asphalt for over 20 minutes. he was black too, you know? So just to show that this really is kind of a catalyst to do harm, to interact with folks, and to say Attorney General Bonta himself had to step in to name that California agencies were sharing this data willy-nilly. So fuck you guys, there's no oversight.
And our last in speaker, Hamid Khan. In person.
Just to pick it up from where Matios and Will left. So I was just talking to Will on the side that the $250 million increase that the LAPD is asking, they're also using some accounting gimmick and shenanigan as well, where they're going to come back and say, well, it's actually $161 million. But it is $250 million, so we're not going to get caught up in that bullshit and lies that they give us. And, you know, building on that, and it's the stuff that Matios was speaking about, that we also have found exchange of emails through public records between Peregrine and Fusus and the LAPD as well. So Peregrine Technologies is now almost like a replacement for Palantir. And it's really pathetic to note the email exchange, and next time we'll bring their names of the people who are exchanging these emails, whereas the Peregrine executive is asking the LAPD that what are they missing about Palantir technology. If you all remember, Palantir is a data processing company, which when we organized and shut down the predictive policing program, we demanded that they cancel the Palantir contract as well, which was canceled. But this is how this data processing comes in. So I think the question for Fabian and Rasha really is that on one hand, you all are speaking about the sanctuary city. And, you know, with the people, the organizers in the community who's demanding it, it may be well-intentioned, but have you seen the gaping fucking holes in that whole system of what the LAPD represents? Have you dug deeper? Have you done that analysis? We have. And we are going to be putting this thing out publicly as to how and how many different ways. It is not, I mean, it will keep on saying that it is not targeted surveillance. It is mass surveillance. It is mass surveillance, and keep on repeating that. Any and all information that the license plate readers are going to pick up that goes into these databases. LAPD claims it doesn't do facial recognition. They just send it to LACRIS, to the county, for photo comparatives. But these handheld mobile companions are directly doing real-time facial recognition as well. So it is, when they say the devil's in the details, the devil is huge. It is the devil. The old details are there. So at some point, as others have said, that you are a goddamn oversight body, do your fucking duty. We're coming to the end of the 2024, and you're still dishing out money. You're still expanding surveillance. This man just was standing there at a press conference, Jim McDonald's, and just gloating over how the crime is down. And as other speakers have said, that you have less officers, but the argument is that crime is up. Crime is up. Give us more money and do that mass surveillance and keep on installing license plate readers, more Stingrays, more body cameras, more HD cameras, more CCTV, more real-time crime center, and Fusus as well, which has been categorically rejected by several cities because of the corruption that has been exposed in Fusus.
There's the last speaker, sir. That is the last.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 3, consent agenda items. Today we are going to be considering items 3A through P. Are there any questions or comments for any of these agenda items?
I had questions about J and K, please.
Okay, we will pull J and K. Commissioner Garcia?
No, thank you.
Then I move that we adopt the recommendation for board action for items 3A through P, except for J and K. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. Vice President Shields, item 3J.
Do we have anyone from the department? Thank you. So I guess we'll go to K first.
Let's go to K first.
Thank you, Chief. I just had a question about just exactly what is a next-gen police vehicle, and I see that the uses is basically for almost potentially like educational purposes, like law enforcement events, press conferences, things like that. So if you can explain a little bit more about what the purpose of it is and what the need is for.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. We don't have any vehicles to actually test new technology or innovation projects. This is a vehicle that was generously donated to us to invent new things, try new things. A perfect example is a project that we're working on is to take the MDCs out of the police vehicles and leverage Apple CarPlay into the car. And so we want to use, we're partnering up with Ford, Motorola, and the department to try and test that technology out. And that's a perfect example where we need a car to be able to do that. There's other things that we're working on down the pipe, maybe possibly new technology that will help interdict vehicle pursuits, leveraging potential drone type things, all tests, proof of concept things. We just need a vehicle to be able to do that. When we have good proofs of concept, we like to demonstrate that out to other law enforcement partners in the community, say, hey, this is possible. And we kind of use that as a testing ground to kind of leverage the law enforcement community to tell vendors, hey, we want you to develop this for us, or at least try to develop it for us. So we think it's worth investing in.
Wonderful. That's very helpful. And before any new technology is actually implemented within the department, then you'd come back to us for authorization. Is that right?
Always.
Okay, thank you. That's the only questions I had for this one.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia, any questions on 3K?
No, thank you.
Then I would move that we adopt the recommendation for board action on item 3K. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there anyone here who can speak to 3J? Okay.
Yes, I'm on,
Thank you.
sir. I don't know if you could hear me. This is Captain Rich Cabaldo from West LA Division.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Chief McDonald. I can answer any questions you have regarding the funds that are being invested for the ALPR cameras.
Sir, can you please leave? You're now disrupting the meeting.
Sir, exit the room, please. You're disrupting the meeting. You're disrupting the meeting. Commissioner Shields, please go ahead.
Thank you. I had a couple questions about this just in terms of, and I don't know whether this is going to be the best forum or Chief, whether we come back early next year to talk a little bit more about the strategy in terms of where automated license plate recognition cameras are going to be done and installed. And I can see this being a little bit of a piecemeal, and I don't want there to just be different donation requests for different places without a thoughtful approach being done as to by the department wide as to where these license plate readers are needed and helpful. And the other thing I've seen them work with a real-time crime center, and you can kind of match everything up. I don't know exactly how it works without that, and I worry about either false alerts or, basically like once there is some kind of notification, does that detract from officers responding to a 911 call and then they go chase something else? So understanding exactly how they will be used would be helpful context for me going forward.
To follow up, again, as Commissioner Shields just mentioned, it would seem that we would see some kind of citywide risk analysis that would give us information with regards to what this system is going to do. Is this going to be traffic-oriented? Is it going to be crime-oriented? Is it going to do both? And as she also mentioned, we want to make sure that there's some equity with regards to all 15 council districts being afforded the same opportunity to have the same technology for the same reasons.
So I think there's probably, these were more comments and questions for a later date than for this specific request, but understand that this is, I'm comfortable moving forward with this one, but I would like a comprehensive approach moving forward.
Commissioner Garcia, any questions?
Yeah, same. Looking forward to the conversation on the strategy of how these are, the locations are identified where they'll be. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I move that we adopt the recommendation then for board action for item 3J. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to agenda item number 4, regular agenda item, Department's report relative to the California Public Records Act inspection. And I believe I have Police Administrator Sergeant, Captain Gilani, and crew. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Sargent, Commanding Officer of Audit Division, and I have with me also from Audit Division Lieutenant Saboto, and from Risk Management is Captain Galani and also Lieutenant Kwan. Yes. Today we're here to share with you a brief overview of the California Public Records Act inspection. This was conducted as part of our 2024 annual audit plan. As you may recall, this inspection is part of a settlement agreement that was signed in 2019 between the City of LA and the ACLU of Southern California. Because the agreement requires a 5-year inspection of SEPRA, the department established an audit plan from 2020 through 2024, and this marks the department's 5th and final year of this agreement. Risk Management Legal Affairs Division is the department entity that's primarily responsible for SEPRA requests, and for this inspection, auditors looked at a random sample of 96 different requests dating from July of 2023 through June of 2024. We looked at 4 primary areas, and these included timely notifications to the requester, justified extensions, whether unfulfilled requests were permitted under SEPRA rules, and if a reasonable effort was made to locate records. So the report shows that the department received 100% compliance in all areas but one that received an 86% compliance, and it had to do with the justification of additional 14-day extensions. In both instances, the requesters did receive the records, but in one, the requester didn't actually receive a 14-day extension notification. And in the other instance, they did receive a notification, but in the correspondence, it didn't actually list the unusual circumstances. Audit Division met with Risk Management Legal Affairs Division, who addressed these issues through training, and they are also in general agreement with the audit's findings. And the City Attorney's Office also reviewed this inspection to ensure that it satisfied the settlement agreement. And we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, thank you. First, I'd just like to say thank you for your efforts to attempt to get to 100% responsibility for all 4 areas that you look at and you analyze. We understand and are aware of the number of SIPRA requests that come in every year. So thank you to you and your staff for attempting to meet that objective each year despite the volume and the amount. I don't have any other comments or questions. I'll defer to Vice President Shields.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Garcia?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Again, thank you for your work. Thank you. This is very important. And I'm glad that this is an agreement that was made years ago, and it's very important to the department as it relates to transparency and accountability. With that, I would move that we adopt the recommendation for board action and approve the department's report. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
The commission will now recess into closed session. Thank you.
The Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss item number 5A and 5B in accordance to Government Code 54957.
Good afternoon. The commission has completed closed session, and we'll have a readout by Executive Director Sibley. Mr. Sibley?
Thank you, Mr. President. So, item 5A, at the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners on December 17th, 2024, during the closed session, the board made the following findings, all by a 3-0 vote. So, 5A1, which is officer-involved shooting 003-24. For tactics, tactical debrief 1 Sergeant 1, 1 Police Officer 3, and 1 Police Officer 2. Administrative disapproval, 1 Police Officer 1. For drawing and exhibition of a firearm, in policy, no further action, 1 Police Officer 1. For non-lethal use of force, in policy, no further action, 1 Sergeant 1, 1 Police Officer 3, 1 Police Officer 2, and 1 Police Officer 1. For intermediate force, in policy, no further action, 1 Police Officer 3 and 1 Police Officer 2. And for lethal use of force, out of policy, administrative disapproval, 1 Police Officer 1. For item 5A2, which is non-tactical unintentional discharge 004-24. For tactics, tactical debrief, 1 Police Officer 2. And for unintentional discharge, negligent discharge, administrative disapproval, 1 Police Officer 2. And then to item 5A3, which is officer-involved shooting 005-24. For tactics, tactical debrief, 2 Police Officers 2. For drawing and exhibition of a firearm, in policy, no further action, 2 Police Officers 2. For non-lethal use of force, in policy, no further action, 1 Police Officer 2. For intermediate use of force, in policy, no further action, 1 Police Officer 2. And for lethal use of force, in policy, no further action, 1 Police Officer 2. Moving on to item 5B1, the matter was discussed. And then additionally, Mr. President, there's a correction to the readout that was provided on November 26th, 2024. For item 5A2 on the agenda for that date, which was case number 071-23, the Commission's finding for lethal use of force was reported as out of policy, administrative disapproval for 1 Police Officer 1. That is now corrected. The correct finding should be out of policy, administrative disapproval for 1 Police Officer 3. And that completes the readouts.
Thank you, Mr. Sibley, and I'd just like to thank CID and the staff of the commission for all your hard work this year. We really appreciate it, since this will be the last commission meeting we have this year. Hope you have a very happy holiday, and I move that we adjourn today's meeting. Is there a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.